Here we have the brand new BSBESB305. Okay? Is that clear as mud? Okay, we're going to go through this one. Well, I'm not going to say super fast, but I'm not going to drag it out. It's a unit we've got to do. Does it have anything to do with private investigation? Not really, unless you are starting your own business. And then there's things you need to worry about. Let's just watch. So looking at a business, looking at setting up a business, I just want to show a short video on some top 10 hints for starting up a business.
Top tips for small business. Understand why you are starting a small business. Starting your own small business is an incredibly rewarding enterprise. You must bear in mind, however, that it can be a very hard road to walk down. You must always remember why you decided to start in business yourself. Whatever your motivation, you must find a way to remember the reason why when things get tough. What is your point of difference? One of the motivating why factors for starting your own small business or startup may be that you know that you can do it better than other businesses you have worked for. What are you going to do that is different to your competition? What is your main point of difference going to be? During your research stage, you must check out your competition to see if and where there is a gap in the market. It may be a customer service issue, a cost issue, or any issue that you feel is lacking in your field. You must check out the competition. I know that my competition check my business out. It is vital that you do all the proper market research before you invest time and money into your idea. Don't directly steal from them though. Keep your integrity at all times. It's very important. How are you going to structure your small business? Make sure that you get the structure of your business right. There are pros and cons in every business structure. A company, partnership or sole trader all have benefits depending on what type of business you want to be. They all have tax implications and liability implications. Ensure that you speak to your business lawyer and accountant to get the best advice depending on your goals now and for the future. Law, rules and regulations. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. You can be liable for something that you didn't even know existed. Make sure you are fully aware of all the laws, legislation, rules and regulations in your chosen area of business. This is true of both the federal level and on the state level. Check websites like ATO, ASIC and reliable business websites to get all the right information. If in doubt and you can afford it, go and see a small business lawyer to ensure that you've done all of the due diligence. You should check up on employment law, taxation law, corporations law if you decide to become a company, workplace safety and health and safety among others. You are the boss. Act like it. You are in charge of your own destiny now. If there are any problems in the business, it is up to you to sort it out. If the matter requires to put in an all-nighter, then you have to do it. You are the boss. You need to lead by example. Don't expect other people and employees to do something that you are not prepared to do yourself or that you have not done with your eyes closed 1,000 times before. The idea of a passive income when you're in a small business is like a unicorn. It's a mythical creature that doesn't really exist. No one is going to love your business like you do. Do not accumulate debt unless your accountant says it's okay. Don't worry, your accountant will never say that it's okay. This is a tough one because it depends entirely on the business and the economy. However, for every success story, there are hundreds or thousands of small business people and entrepreneurs who have lost the shirt off their backs to banks and moneylenders. If you can build your business without borrowing money or becoming encumbered under debt or a bad lease, then it is probably better that you do. Take time off. It is really important. Sometimes you will need to dig deep and do what needs to be done. We have all pulled all-nighters or worked 7 days per week. But this type of work for most is unsustainable. It is really important that you take some time off and actually be off. There is no point in taking some time off and then having your head at work the whole time. Be present with what you are doing right now and forget about work. It's not going anywhere. It'll be there on Monday when you get back. Google mindfulness meditation to help you gain the skills needed to find some peace and stillness inside. I'll put a link below. Surround yourself with great people. It is really important in business to surround yourself with good people. Lose the negative people and gossip spreaders from your business and surround yourself with great people. There are thousands of great, highly profitable small businesses that don't follow that horrible cutthroat corporate way of doing things. If you treat people properly, you will get the best out of them and they are more likely to take some ownership of their role. Get business advice and ongoing training. If you are not getting better, then you are getting worse. I never really understood what this meant until a few years ago. Basically, all of your competition could be learning new skills, developing existing skills further, and broadening their skill set. If you are not doing the same, then you are dropping behind. Get more organised. If you are lucky enough to be in a business that uses administration software, then if you can afford it, use it. It is really important that you use more than Outlook or Google Email and calendars in your business. Doing the tasks longhand that a good software can do can take up a lot of time, and you may end up not even doing them.
Hey, I find that is a really great video, and I feel like I could actually go, enough said. Like, everything that has been said, it covers it all in that video. Some really good points. If you can start a business and not have to start in debt, it's brilliant. And that's a great thing as a private investigator. There isn't a huge amount of startup cost. Something that didn't really get touched on there, and it frustrates me no end, when people put, so on Picker we have our advertising, and you probably see it, and you're probably sick of seeing my face on social media, but I get comments from PIs been in the job for a long time, and they're probably trying to stop people from getting in this industry. But they say things like, oh, there's no work out there, I've been in the job for ages and I can't get any work. And it frustrates me because there's plenty of work out there, it's just they just don't know how to market themselves. And as we've said before, we can't do everything. And so I'm not great on social media, marketing on social media. But I know some good people that are very good at it. And so I'm happy to pay those people because it comes back to me in I don't know how many fold of actually spending that money and marketing myself well. The same goes for an accountant, your legal advice, and also a business coach. Sometimes it's worth the money. I've seen people try to do their own accountancy and they get themselves in a whole heap of hurt when they can just be paying an accountant to do that and they don't have to spend any time on it. Why get bogged down in that stuff when you can be putting more effort into your business and not into the accounts? So there's all different areas you need to look at in a business. But as it said, like, it is so rewarding. Having your own business is rewarding, and if you can be your own person and subcontract for people and write your own hours. Yes, there are nights, and Greg and I have been there, where you put in the all-nighters, get up the next morning and have to deliver. Well, when I say get up, get changed, and then start delivering to a class. It happens, but it's rewarding and it's fun. So, and there are times then you can actually take a break and take the time off when you want. So it's up to you. It is rewarding. Now we're going to get into some stuff we've got to do for the course. and and it's mainly about insurance, taxation, and I'm not going to get bogged down in it. It's just about making sure that you seek advice on these things. So let's get into it and get through it. So identify regulatory taxation and insurance requirements relevant to new business venture. So that's something you're going to have to do. When you're kicking off a new business, something you're going to have to do. You've got to look at these things. You need to have a certain understanding of taxation and the insurance you need for your business. But for what we do, and especially running two businesses where we actually do investigations and then we run the registered training organisation, I just went to an insurance broker and I said, this is what we do. And the insurance broker said, oh, you need this, 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 done. I didn't spend any time researching it. I just used an insurance broker. So when you're kicking off a new business, there are things you're going to need. You're going to need an ABN, Australian Business Number. You just apply, that's pretty easy. You grab your business name. You can get a shelf name, a shelf company. There's different ways you can do that. You get a tax file number. Knowing your legislations that relate to your business, you need to make sure you're covered, and that's where your legal team, just a legal, team person, can help you out with that. So seek qualified knowledge on your tax, your insurance, and your legal. Once again, try and access information that helps you interpret these things. Now that can either be through speaking to an accountant, speaking to a legal person, or you can try Google. There's a fair bit of information that you can actually get online on these things. There's also, the government do provide sites that you can go to where you don't have to pay a taxation person, an accountant or a solicitor for this information. And so these can be business.gov, your ATO office, ASIC. There is Council of Small Business, so in each state and in different areas, you do have your Council of Small Business. Make sure that you have in place in your business, and this is going to once again depend how big you are, how many people are in your organisation, but your codes of practice, your standards, what you're going to do if there's misconduct, how you're going to handle these things. So you've got to have your legislation combined with your policy and procedures and codes of conducts, all intertwined, and you've got to have them set up. So people, you may know in your head, if you work for yourself, you may have those in your head if that's the standard you work to, but if you work with someone else, they don't know that same standard. So you need to have it as a documentation for everyone to be on the same page. And if anything was to ever bite you, then you can go back to, and someone asks, legal says, well, where's your code of conduct or where's your policy and procedure on that? You can bring it out and show them. There's also the Australian Consumer Law, ACL, and it exists to protect consumers. So it's the law that is set up for consumers. Like if someone wants to get a refund, it's the law that allows someone to actually walk in. Now I know there's different rules about refunds and times and you need a docket and it's still got to be wrapped, all that sort of stuff. But that's the law that sets that up. It's also the law that says a customer has to get a receipt for when they buy something. It's law. That has to happen. So you can have a look at that and what things you need to provide under that law to clients. So seeking specialist advice. Identify sources of special advice and services relevant to identified compliance requirements and business venture profile. So once again, it's important to have clear policies and procedures in place. Standards Australia defines risk as the chance of something happening. We've already looked at that in WHS. And policies and procedures in place to create standards for everyone to know to adhere to. So if there's more than just yourself, everyone knows they're on the same playing field. But you need to seek advice on, not everyone's good at writing a policy and procedure. So if you need help on that, you just go and seek advice. You can even, there's plenty on the web where you can just go in and rip someone's policy and procedure if it's close to your business, and then you can tweak it with maybe some guidance from someone on that it really suits your business. This seems repetitive because I think what they're trying to hammer home here is seeking advice. Don't use your own skills. Seek advice to identify specialist advice and services according to business needs, available resources and workplace procedures, okay? It's all about seeking advice. So who might be? There are many advisors to help with financial, legal and other business needs. So just off the top of your head, it might come through on a chat for me. Who would you be suggesting you would go to for financial advice, legal advice, business needs, business advice? Who would you go for?
If it's legal advice, you're going to go to your solicitor.
Yep. Yep. So we have solicitor. A broker for finances. So if you're borrowing.
Yeah.
Yep, if you need to borrow. So we've got an insurance broker, a finance broker. Any others coming through there, Greg?
Yeah.
Accountant.
Small business council.
Yep, cool. Small business council, excellent. So I find accountants probably the most interesting advisors in a business because they tell you what you already know, and that's about it. Sometimes. But it is good at tax time. They can advise you, especially for the next year, of the best way to then set up. Once they see how the business is running, they can advise you of possibly how you pay yourself. Are you a director? Are you set up as a trust? All those things. Before you actually set up your business, you need to have a chat to your accountant to find out your own financial situation and what is going to work best for you. Because what is going to work best for one person in one situation with a trust, say, isn't going to work for someone else with a trust. So you've got to work that out with your accountant. I think we had all these. Business mentors. Business mentors are very, very handy to have. So clarify and confirm compliance requirements and their appropriateness for your business. We're going to look shortly at a video which is going to look at the 4 structures of how to set up a business, which are these. And this is really important. Once you set your business up as either a sole trader, a company, a partnership or a trust, I won't say that you can't change it, but it's a pain in the butt and it's expensive to change it later. So it is good if you can seek the advice and set up your company how you want to do it right from get-go. It can save you a lot of heartache and money. So let's just watch this video.
Hello and welcome to Westpac's Davidson Institute. This short video is from the Starting a Business series and is on business structures. One of the key decisions for any business owner when starting their business is what business structure to use. It will of course depend on your own situation and the ultimate goal for your business. In this video, I will talk about the four main types of business structures and some of the advantages and disadvantages of each to prepare you for a more informed discussion with your accountant or solicitor about which business structure is best for you and your situation. You can change your business structure down the track, but this may be expensive and time consuming, so it's best to get the right structure for you from the outset. The four most common types of business structure are sole trader, partnership, company, and trust. As a sole trader, you simply operate as you. You are one person, you are personally liable, you are taxed at your personal marginal tax rate, and you have full control. One of the key drawbacks of this structure, though, is that you only have your own resources, intellectual, financial, and so on, which could be restrictive to long-term growth. The next type is partnerships. A partnership is established via a partnership agreement, which sets out the rights and responsibilities of the partners. A partnership can be up to 50 people. Profit distributions are governed by the partnership agreement. Distributions are taxed then at each partner's personal marginal tax rate. There is limited protection for personal assets, as partners are jointly and severally liable for all partnership debts. With this type of structure, though, you potentially have access to the collective knowledge and funding of all of the partners. The challenge here, though, is being able to get everyone to agree. The next structure to consider is a company. The advantage of establishing as a company is that there is limited liability for company owners. The company is its own legal entity and as such can trade and borrow as itself and is liable for its own debts. Responsibility is split between the owners, known as shareholders, and the decision makers, known as the directors. In small mum and dad businesses, it's not uncommon for the shareholders and directors to be the same people. Company profits are currently taxed at a flat company rate of 30%. While a company is more expensive to establish and administer, it can offer protection for personal assets and be easier to manage a change of ownership in the future. The final structure is trust. A trust is the most complex of all the business structures. However, it offers most protection for owners and most flexibility in distribution of profits. A trust is established via a legal document known as a trust deed. The trust deed appoints a trustee who manages the finances of the trust on behalf of the beneficiaries. What the trust and the trustee can and can't do is set out in the trust deed, as is who the beneficiaries are and what they're entitled to. A trust is a financial entity as opposed to a legal entity. Assets and liabilities are held on behalf of the beneficiaries of the trust, not actually owned by the trust. Profits are allocated to beneficiaries and taxed at the beneficiary's personal tax rate. While this structure is more complex and costly to administer, it offers limited liability for beneficiaries and discretionary distribution of income between the beneficiaries. It's often used by family businesses that may span a few generations or where owners have substantial assets or other interests outside of this particular business. Talking to your lawyer, your accountant, and your personal financial advisor will be beneficial when selecting the legal structure for your business. And remember to take into account what you want to happen to the business in future, not just what works for now. Some of the other information that can be sourced from the Davidson Institute on starting a business is
Cool. So hopefully that was informative of the four different types of businesses, the way you can set up. You can chat to your accountant about this and legal. There is some other ways you can set them up by combining. So it's a little bit more complicated, but you can actually have a trust that is the director or part of the company. So you have hard to explain. You have a company, and the owners of that company can actually be trusts. And so it's a good way of feeding back the profits from the company to the trusts and then you can decide where that profit goes in the trust to whoever you want. It's just it's more complex, but and that's just one way of you can do it. So you need to chat to your accountant on all the different ways. So there is the 4, but you can combine some of them to make it work better for you. The great thing, as I said about a company, you have the asset protection. So that's why a lot of people will not just have a trust that has the business, but use the company because it protects your assets in between. Okay, review and document advice and procedures. Ultimately, it's up to the business owner to review their own policies and procedures. That's up to you as the owner. Just remember, ASIC really is the major government body here with your business, and you need to make sure you keep them happy with all your compliance and what you're doing. That's looking at the business. What your business is, and like as for us as an RTO, then we've got other things we've got to comply with ASQA, another government body. But as far as just the business is concerned, you fall under ASIC and you've got to abide by their rules. To help with the compliance, the creation of compliance management plan is useful, and some best practices are for a compliance management plan: form an understanding of the issue, define the requirements of the stakeholder, create compliance policies, identify the risks, establish responsibilities, and then manage non-compliance. So arrange insurance cover for the business according to business needs, available resources and workplace procedures. So, and as I said, you can get bogged down in that and spend a lot of time in it. I just got onto a insurance broker, told him what the business did, told him they'll ask things about like what's the company income, how many employees. They'll ask questions, and then they go from there and go, okay, this is the insurance you need. Implement the compliance procedures according to specialist advice received. Who do you think is going to assist you with your compliance needs for a business? Because we know who's going to help us with insurance, we know who's going to help us with tax. What about our compliance needs in a business? Yeah? Yep, good. So we could have, we've had work cover, we've had an auditor, and that could be a specialised auditor for RTO, they're RTO auditors. Is there anyone on chat there? No? Okay. I've got to know why I get the graveyard shift here. I get the afternoon shift where everyone's just going, come on, let's go home, man. Anyway, we can have all these people. We've got the work health and safety, we've got a financial planner, and all those other accounts and all that can also help us with compliance in different ways. But there are specialist auditors for your business needs. And seek feedback. Seek feedback from experts in the industry, seek feedback from management, seek feedback from employees, seek feedback from clients. There are so many areas where you've started a business, you've implemented compliance procedures, and you need to get feedback from all these different people. So you know if you're travelling in the right direction. Are you doing something wrong? Do you need to correct your policy and procedures? And I always think employees are if you have an employee, they're one of the biggest assets to get your feedback from, to know what's happening. And clients. Are you doing the right thing by a client? Are they happy? because you want your client happy, because they're going to come back to you. If they're not happy, they're going to look elsewhere. So you've got the templates for this, and you just need to fill them out. And once again, it's to marry up with the criteria, which is about identifying your tax issues in a business, your insurance issues in a business, your compliance issues, how you're going to identify them, who you're going to speak to get help on them. You have a scenario where we have a chap, Mr. Smith, is running a business by the name of Stark Suppliers, and he supplies household items to different vendors. So that's his business. He supplies household items to different vendors. You've been given a job to identify regulatory tax insurance requirements relevant to his business. Identify sources of specialist advice and services relevant to that. So all you have to do is work through these templates to, as I've said, identify the tax, the insurance needs, the compliance issues, who you're going to speak to, how you're going to implement them. It's all here. So here, one thing is, use the information of your business, identify the regulatory requirements of the business. And this will work down, say, anti-discrimination, work and health, fair trading, all these different things you're going to need. Identify the tax requirements. Well, there's different tax requirements you're going to have. If you've got an employee, you're going to have pay-as-you-go. You're going to have some fringe benefits tax. You're going to have income tax. If you've got a car, you'll have some fuel tax. Use the information in your business to identify the insurance requirements of the business. So you're going to have different things. If you've got employees, you're going to have workers' comp insurance. You're going to have public liability. If you've got a vehicle, you're going to have vehicle insurance, professional indemnity insurance. Use the information of your business, identify a risk minimising need of the business. So just go through, follow the filled out template there, and who you're going to use to identify those things. How do you identify the risk minimising needs of the business? So just go through, fill that out. Use this once again as a guide. I want you to flesh it out, and like all the other templates, you can take it to however you like. You can actually name what this guy supplies to households if you want to go that far, but I'll leave that to you guys. Just go through, fill that out. And that is address compliance requirements for the new business ventures.